the earth. And our relationship with the earth is primarily our relationship with the body. And so the body is made of minerals and metals. It's made of iron and calcium and magnesium. It is made of water. It is oxygenated with the atmosphere. It is warmed by sunlight. It is influenced by moonlight. And so the body is actually the earth. The body is the biosphere. It has its own microbiome. Everything that's in the body is happening according to the same principles, the same energies and elements that govern everything in the environment externally. So this is the first principle to consider here as we start our little internal ritual. That's why I'm taking a minute to explain this, because we're going to have a little ceremony, but it's going to be an inward mental ceremony, an inward devotional ceremony, an inward practice of concentration and bhakti. And in that sense, we will be doing practices that are very tantric in nature. We will be doing an internal ritual. And that is done in the container of the body. And the container of the body is an inner landscape. And this is clearly articulated in the lineages of tantric meditation and Taoist meditation. And so the body is a container that contains the earth, rather than the earth containing the body. And this is a very important concept to understand, because the earth is not just inside of us. The earth is also inside of us mentally. It's not just inside of us physically and elementally, it's inside of us mentally as well. So we start with this basic principle that the body is the earth, and everything that's happening in our physiology is the activity of the biosphere. Everything that's happening with metabolism is happening in every creature, everywhere in the world. And everything that is happening with respiration is happening with every creature. And that includes all the plants, and that includes all the elements. And so therefore, the body is the earth itself. And that's how we can start. The body is the earth itself. And this is important to understand from this concept of an internal ritual, because if we want to celebrate Earth Day and give it a special kind of meaning, then what we're really remembering is we're remembering our relationship to the earth. And our relationship to the earth is fundamentally our relationship to our own body. And so this is something that we know when it comes to health challenges and medical conversations that we may have with practitioners. And that is that the body is doing all of these things itself. And the things that it is doing are the same things that are happening in nature around us all the time. And so the sun is rising and setting, and the moon is getting full and decreasing, and we can't do anything about those things at all. There is no way that we can alter the biorhythms of the earth. And what we find is that it's actually very difficult to alter any of those things inside of us either. It's very difficult to change our biorhythms. It's very difficult to change our physiology. And so in that sense, we are living with the intelligence of the earth as it is expressing itself to us. As much as we would like to overrule the intelligence of the earth and say, no, I am not going to age, and I am not going to experience this passage of time, and I am not going to experience these various processes of nature that are happening everywhere. But it happens. And so that is our relationship with the earth. All the things that are happening in the body are the same things that are happening in the biosphere. So where do we start with an inner ritual then? Where we start is by recognizing and understanding that our primary relationship with the earth is where mind meets matter, where our consciousness interfaces with the earth. Our consciousness interfaces with the earth in the body. So the next most important principle is, what is our attention? What is consciousness? What is important about paying attention to the body on Earth Day? What is important about paying attention to the body as a type of internal ritual to celebrate collectively here our presence here on the earth as manifestations of the earth? Well, our attention is energy, and our attention is what makes us present. And if we are not paying attention, we are not being present. And so giving attention is giving our presence. And our presence, when we are focused on something in a spiritual way, like we are starting to do now by contemplating these things, when our attention is focused on the body as a way of recognizing that we are living in the earth is inside of us, we are an expression of the earth, we are giving attention as a kind of bhakti, a kind of devotion. And that is our presence. Our attention is presence, and that presence is devotion. So therefore, in a real simple sense, what we are doing here is we are starting to give devotion of attention and presence to the earth as the body, to the body as the earth, to the earth inside the body. And this is the starting point for a different kind of relationship with the earth, because I think it's quite safe to say that the earth, the whole reason for Earth Day originally is to recognize that the earth has some value for us biologically, that we need the earth. It doesn't need us, we need it. And it doesn't need to pay attention to us because it's paying attention to us at such a deep level, we don't even understand that. As Rumi said, it's closer to you than you are to yourself. And so the earth is closer to us than we have any idea about. It's not a question of we have of the earth, is paying attention or not to us. It's a question of what are we going to do with our consciousness in relation to the earth. And if we are paying attention to the earth at a very, very deep level, then it becomes a spiritual practice. And paying attention to the earth inside the body is the basis of so many spiritual practices. So that's enough. Introductory philosophy. Let's go ahead and start meditating and use the rest of our time here to explore these principles that I just outlined. And in that way, we can say that 100 people spent an hour giving devotion of their attention and their presence to the earth in a very intimate way inside ourselves. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable and relax, close eyes. And keep the spine straight. a bit. Breathe deeply, relax the shoulders. And now let's just review all of those basic concepts. And so feel the body, feel the outline, the shape of the body. There's upper, middle, and lower. There's the surface. There's the interior. And now let's do a very ancient form of meditation, which is to observe the body as a container. Now, even though the elements of the biosphere are continually coming in, moving through and going out of this container, it does have a boundary, our skin, mucous membranes on the inside that separates us. And that's part of what creates this sense that the earth is outside of us, is that we are a container. Physically, the body is a container. But if we continue now with this fundamental principle that the earth is inside of us as opposed to outside of us, then we can begin to visualize and to feel that inside this container, there is a landscape. And this landscape follows the same organizational structure as the biosphere of the earth. And so we eat food, and food moves downward and returns to the soil. But we can pause and feel that inside the container of the body, that there are parts of the body that are specifically soil. And the first place we would start, of course, would be the large intestine and the microbiome of the lower gut. And so we can feel how the large intestine is actually a container of soil. It is very rich in microbes that nourish the body. And so this is why in the inner landscape diagrams of Taoism and Tantra, the container of the body is shown with a landscape of soil, a landscape of earth in the lower part of the body. And so let's just bring our attention to the lower GI tract and feel how the earth element is accumulated there as the foundation of nutrition for the body. We don't get much nutrition when we first eat it. We don't get much nutrition from the stomach. We're getting the nutrition mostly from the large intestine. That's the soil that we ate. and it is in the lower part of the body, which is the earth element. So let's feel the inner landscape of the body and feel the soil inside of us. Now, the next aspect of this inner landscape is water. And water comes in our drink and moves around and returns to the earth again. And in the inner landscape of the body, what we can feel is that it is like a water garden. Now, water is easier to feel circulating than nutrients from the soils. The soil is mostly felt in the lower large intestine. We can't actually feel the nutrients circulating through us very well, but we can feel the water element circulating through us very easily. And this is all the sensations of moisture in the eyes and the mouth and the joints, the fluidity of the joints and moisture on the skin, the fluids in the GI tract and the blood circulation. And it's very easy to feel the body as a water garden because it's mostly water. And this water is moving in all kinds of different ways. It is moving like rivers in some places. It's moving like oceans in other places. It's moving like springs and streams in other places. It's moving like mist and fog in other places. And so let's just use our power of imagination and body sensations to feel how the body is like a garden of circulating water. It is there in the moisture in the lower GI tract also. It's part of the earth. And so now we can feel the presence of the sunlight, and that's the body warmth. And it's not just the earth that is inside the body, it's also the sun that's inside the body. And that is biologically correct, scientifically correct, that sunlight is inside the body. It is in every cell, every instant. It got there through our food. It got into the food through photosynthesis. And so we are creatures that live on sunlight and dirt and water. And so the warmth of the body that we are feeling right now is the warmth of the earth, the warmth of the planet, the warmth of the sky, and the warmth of the sun. And so now we extend our awareness to that. And we feel the body as a container of the inner landscape. that is radiant with sunlight. And so there is the soil of nutrition, there is the circulating fluids, and there is the warmth of the sun in this internal landscape. And the circulation and movement of these elements follow the same principles, the same laws as the circulation of those elements outside of us. And so now, feel the body as a container again. Feel that it has an inner landscape, that the earth is inside of us, not outside. That the inner landscape has soil of nutrition, primarily in the lower GI tract, but flowing everywhere. That it is a water garden of circulating fluids, oceans and lakes and springs and streams and rain and mist and fog. And it is warmed by internal sunlight of metabolism. And that it has its own inner atmosphere of oxygenation. And so air is moving through the inner landscape also. And so feel how with every breath, the inner landscape feels a breeze, flow of oxygen. With every exhalation, it moves the opposite way. So there is an inner atmosphere also. There is inner soil, there is inner water, there is inner sunlight, and there is inner atmosphere. And so we can start again and feel the body as a container. And it is a container of the elements. It is a container that is full of space. The GI tract is a tube. The heart is a space. The blood vessels are tubes. And in this container of all of these spaces, thoracic cavity, abdominal cavity, pelvic cavity, the various cavities of oral cavity, the ears and nostrils and so on. All of these aspects of space are part of the body being a container. And inside this container of space, there is the microcosm of the earth. And this is the inner landscape. This is the soil, the nutrients. This is the water circulating. This is the sunlight warming the cells. This is the atmosphere oxygenating everything. So this is the first principle that we started with, is that the earth is not outside of us, it's inside of us. Now, the second principle is, how do we give this devotion? How do we give devotion to the earth? We give devotion to the earth by paying attention, because attention is being present. And being present with our attention is devotion. And so the fundamental relationship with the earth is our attention in the body, aware of the body, aware of the body as the earth, or not. And most of the time, our attention is not aware of this. But the earth is always there, and the earth is always what we are made of, and the earth is always functioning. The biosphere of the earth is always functioning in the physiology of our inner landscape, and that intelligence is always taking care of us. The earth is always aware of us. But our attention is not always aware of the earth. And so we would like to see a collective transformation in consciousness. We would like to see collectively that our relationship with the earth is getting better. And as a result of better quality attention and relationship with the earth, that the quality of the biosphere is healing. And this starts right here with what we are doing. It starts with giving the earth inside the container of our inner landscape the devotion of our attention. And so now let's just pause for a moment and think of nothing but this inner landscape. Be fully aware of nothing but this inner landscape. Be aware that this is always present with us, that the intelligence of the biosphere is always taking care of us. All of those organ functions and all of those markers of nutrition and inflammation, and all of these extremely complex biochemical activities that are going on, it's all being done for us all the time. The water is always circulating. The earth is always supporting us. The sunlight is always warming us. The atmosphere is always oxygenating us. So we can say thank you by giving our full attention, our full presence, our full bhakti to the earth inside of us. Okay, take a deep breath and stretch. And this is the introduction to something that we could go very, very deeply into. And for those of you who have attended other meditations and courses, you know that we have gone very deeply into this. But there's really only two parts of this, and this is why it's really simple to just take this on your own, continue moving forward with it. And that is, there's only two parts of it. There is the body and there is the mind. And the body is the earth, and the mind is awareness. And so we are awareness that is embodied in the earth. And that's all that we have to work with. That is the basis of all the spiritual practices. Fundamentally, that's the basis of spirituality itself, is understanding consciousness and understanding nature and understanding their relationships. And therefore, the practice, just to sum this up, is to simply be aware of the body as a container of the earth, that the earth is inside of us. The 5 elements are inside of us. And that consciousness is being refocused. It's being brought back together with this, and that is bhakti, okay? Now, I'm using this system of 5 elements from Ayurveda, earth, water, fire, air, space, because we can feel all those things organoleptically, okay? The Chinese system of metal and wood, we cannot actually feel body sensations of metal or wood. We can feel body sensations of earth and water and fire and air and space very easily to answer that question. Okay, now let's do this again, but let's go a little bit more deeply into it. And this time, what we will do is we will bring in the heart, because the heart is what is circulating everything through us all the time. And when we do this practice of the inner landscape, listening to the heartbeat, then it connects us at a deeper level to a kind of spiritual orientation to everything. So let's begin again. Close eyes, relax, bring the attention inward. And let's just consider for a moment here the effect of attention. Now, I think everybody has probably had the experience of being in a relationship where you were not being paid attention to, and you know what that feels like. Or that you were paying attention to someone and it wasn't being reciprocated. And so attention in that sense is presence, and presence is love. And therefore, if we go more deeply into this practice to explore the bhakti side of it, which is where we can connect to the heart here, we can ask a basic question. Well, if the earth is always functioning inside me and always giving me moment by moment this foundation for my consciousness to be here, what changes if I start to pay attention to that? And I think it's very easy to understand that the more we pay attention to the earth inside of us, the more we're paying attention to the biosphere of the entire planet in its microcosm, in this inner landscape, and the more we are paying attention to the celestial energies of sun and moon and sky, and the more we pay attention to those things, the more present we are with those things. I think that they are aware of that. And I think that it is a relationship that we can cultivate, and we can deepen our relationship to the earth just by paying more attention to it inside of us. And by being more aware of these elements, I think that we will discover that we can actually talk to them, listen to them, receive information from them at a deeper level than if we were not paying attention to them. Okay, let's go back to feeling the body as a container. And let's go back to feeling the body as a container of nutrition that we are so fortunate to have. And this is an aspect of bhakti, is recognizing that this container that we have right now is incredibly fortunate, fragile, temporary, certain conditions that have come together miraculously that give us the opportunity to do something with our mind. And I think that what we are doing by simply paying attention is one of the highest cognitive functions that humans have, is to be aware of that which is creating us. And so let's feel the body as a container. And let's feel the body full of nutrients. Let's feel the blood being full of nutrition from the soil, from the plants, from the animals. And the great fortune that we have to be nourished. And now bring your thumb to the wrist like this. Put the thumb on the opposite artery of the wrist and feel the heart beating. And be aware that with every heartbeat, the nutrition from the earth is circulating through us. And that means that the earth is actually not just in the large intestine as the end result of digesting our food, but it is also circulating through the heart. See if you can feel inside the heart the flow of nutrition from the earth. And so now we are going into a deeper level of the inner landscape. We are feeling the body as a container. We are feeling that container full of nutrition from the earth. We're feeling the earth inside of us as soil nutrition in all its forms. But now we are going inside to another container, inside the container of the body, and that container is the heart. And the heart is pulsating, and that nutrition is flowing through the heart with every heartbeat. And that means that the soil is moving through the heart continuously. And that means that we can talk to the soil, listen to the soil, give thanks to the soil, communicate emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to the soil in the deepest dimension of who we are inside our heart. And so in this time when there is so much poor diet, limited resources, low quality nutrition, limited access to food, malnutrition, diseases of food, caused by food. The fact that we can sit here and not suffer from hunger and actually give full attention to the soil inside our heartbeat is incredible good fortune. And so let's say thank you to the earth through the heart, to the nutrients of the blood that have come to us from the outer earth. And so this is bhakti. This is the attention, devotion of presence, communicating directly to one of the elements of the earth. And that element of soil gives us life. And so it is life creating. And so it is a manifestation of the creator, which is manifest in the biosphere of the earth, which is creating us all the time. And if we like to think in terms of higher intelligence or God or goddess, divinity, then we can say thank you directly to that which is creating us one heartbeat at a time through supplying us with earth. Okay, now again, bring the attention to the body as a container. And there is an inner landscape inside of it, and it has water flowing throughout it. It is like a water garden. And bring the thumb to the artery at the wrist again and feel the heartbeat. And be aware that the heartbeat is the pulsation of water. The heart is pumping water through this water garden, through this inner landscape of this water garden. And this water that is moving through the artery is the same water that's in the ocean, the same water that's in the lakes and the rivers and the streams, springs and fog and rain. It's the same water that's in the plants. It's the same water that's in all creatures. It's the same water that's on the moon, in space. It's the same water as water everywhere. And it's moving through us one heartbeat at a time, and it is keeping us alive. It is giving us life. It is keeping us alive. And it is the foundation elementally for our consciousness, just like Earth. It is that which is creating the container that allows our consciousness to be here. And therefore, it is divine. It is sacred. It is life-giving. And so we can say, thank you to the water element from the inside of our heart, directly to the water that is moving through the heart. And I think that when we do this individually, that the water in our inner landscape knows that we are doing this. It feels it. The water in our inner landscape feels what our mind is doing. It feels what we are thinking and feeling. And if we have 100 of us saying thank you with gratitude and bhakti to the water inside of us in our inner landscape, then we are performing a collective ritual of gratitude to the water element of the earth. because it's not the outer ritual that matters. It's the inner communing with the element that matters. And when we are relating to the elements at this level inside of our heart, this is a level of deep truth, deep intimacy. There's nothing more intimate than the relationship between the water and the heart organ, or the soil, the nutrition in the blood and the heart organ. This is biological inseparability. Okay, now we feel the body as a container again, a container of an inner landscape with the earth inside of us, with the soil circulating through us as nutrition, and the water circulating through us like a water garden, and it is warmed by sunlight. And so feel the warmth of the sun combusting in the cells. It is literally sunlight. It literally came from the sun. And so again, have the thumb on the radial artery at the wrist and feel the heart beating and feel that the blood is warm. The heart is warm. The cells are warm. And that warmth is sunlight. And so again, remember that in this container with this inner landscape, there's another container, which is the heart, which is the most intimate connection we have to nature, because the sunlight is moving through the center of the heart. It is aware of us because it creates us. We are its expressions. But for a moment, let's give it our presence, bhakti, attention, and be aware of how it is creating us. And be aware that the sunlight, the solar energy, the flow of solar warmth is moving through the body one heartbeat at a time. And therefore we can communicate directly to that source of life that is the source of all life on earth. Inside of us, we can communicate directly to the source of all life on earth by being aware that it is in the heart. Okay, now again, be aware that the body is a container. The container has an inner landscape of elements. The earth is inside of us. Everything that is happening inside the body is following the same principles as the outer biosphere. And it is oxygenated. It has an inner atmosphere. And so be aware of that. Oxygen flowing through us with every breath. Carbon dioxide flowing out with every breath. breathing together with the plants in an opposite gaseous exchange. And again, bring the thumb to the radial artery at the wrist. And be aware that with each heartbeat, that the atmosphere is moving through the blood. The oxygenation of the body is moving through the heart with every heartbeat. And so we can have a deep, intimate biological relationship with the atmosphere inside of us. And so we feel the body as a container. We feel the container as having an inner landscape, which is the earth inside of us. We feel the nutrition circulating through the heart. We feel the water circulating through the heart. We feel the sunlight circulating through the heart. And now we feel the atmosphere circulating through the heart also, with every breath, oxygen, carbon dioxide moving in and out. And this is what keeps us in this body, is this moment by moment flow of this atmospheric life-giving prana. This is what makes our life possible, is this continuous flow of this element. And if we understand that it is the presence of this element, just as if we understand it is the presence of all the other elements, then we can say thank you directly to that element for giving us life. And we can say thank you through the center of the heart, listening to the heartbeat, because the movement of air as oxygenation in the heart is our most intimate biological relationship to the atmosphere of the earth. The lungs are external. They are what bring that prana in and out. But in the body, that prana is at the most intimate level inside the heart. And so we can talk directly to the atmosphere of the planet by feeling it in the heart, in every heartbeat. Okay, now take a deep breath and stretch. And let's go right back into meditation. Let's do one final session where we bring all of this together. So close eyes and relax. And again, you can put the thumb on the radial artery of the wrist. Feel the heartbeat. And let's begin again, and let's do all of this as one complete inner practice of bhakti to the earth inside of us that is giving us life. And so feel the body as a container. Feel the body as a container that is full of nutrition from the soil. That is especially concentrated in the lower GI tract as our microbiome, nutrient-rich soil in the lower part of the body. Supporting everything. And let's feel that in this container of the body that there is water circulating in all kinds of forms. And so the inner landscape of the body is a complex, beautiful water garden. Lakes, ponds, and rivers and streams. Water misting, flowing, dripping, circulating, nourishing everything. And so the water of the earth is inside us, and the soil of the earth is inside us. And we feel the container of the body as a container. We feel the inner landscape. We feel the soil, we feel the water circulating, and we feel the sunlight warming us. We feel the radiance of solar energy in every cell. And we feel the container of the body. The body is a container containing an inner landscape of soil and water and sunlight and air that is moving through us, circulating freely, moving through us. The breezes of respiration. In this way, we can cultivate the awareness that the earth is inside of us, not outside of us. It is inside of us. And all of these elements that are moving, nutrition and water and sunlight and air, moving through channels of space, they are all governed by the same profound intelligence as the intelligence of the biosphere. The biosphere is inside of us. The biosphere is creating us. The biosphere is our physiology. We could not do anything with our physiology except to very subtly influence it. But it is the manifestation and activity of the biosphere every moment. And so now we can put the thumb on the radial artery of the wrist again. You can feel the heartbeat. And now we feel the body as a container with an inner landscape of the biosphere of earth and water and sunlight and air. And we feel all of those elements moving through the center of the heart, the container within the container. The most intimate biological unity between our heart, the inner residence of our mind, the inner residence of our spirit, and the inner chamber of the biosphere coming together. And we recognize that our attention is energy, our attention is presence, our presence is devotion. Our devotion is bhakti. And we focus our attention fully in the heart as the earth circulates through it, one heartbeat at a time. And we are aware that the elements of the earth give us life. That which creates all life on earth is creating our life in this inner landscape of the body, moment by moment. And if we are aware of the presence of these elements inside the heart, and we are aware that our consciousness is fully focused on them, then we are using the highest cognitive potential to pay close attention and be in a deep, intimate relationship with that which is creating us. Okay, take a deep breath and stretch. And thank you to everyone for taking the time to feel the earth inside of us and to be aware of how precious it is. And let me say thank you also to all of you who are watching the replay in the future. And again, our sincere apologies for the technological glitch. But I encourage everybody to just come back to these levels of awareness. They're really easy. They're non-sectarian, non-denominational, intertribal, biological spirituality. Just be aware that the body is a container of the earth. The earth is inside of us. Feel how it's moving through the heart. And if you do this regularly, then some very important and profound things will begin to become apparent.